everyone, happy Sunday, and we are in Amsterdam this weekend. I often get asked how did I keep enjoying my favourite meal, which is a roast. It definitely would be my death row dinner during my weight loss journey. Yes, roasts can seem to be a bit indulgent, but today we're going to cook a healthy roast and it's on plan apart from the Yorkshire puddings. But in the big scheme of things, we're going to keep everything else nice and healthy, so one Yorkshire pudding is not going to set you off track. So we have a roast chicken. You can roast this with the skin on, but make sure that you don't eat the skin, as tempting as it is. We have some potatoes, which I've peeled, sliced, and I've also washed them several times so it removes the starch. We have some carrots, which we're going to roast, broccoli that we're going to steam, and the secret ingredient for the potatoes to make them seem really crispy is a crumbled up OXO cube, a beef OXO cube. So once we parboil the potatoes and when we put them in the fry light, we're also going to sprinkle over the beef stock cube, so it tastes really, really nice. And then for the Yorkshire puddings, very simple. Everybody freaks out about Yorkshire puddings, very easy to make. 140 grams of plain flour, 4 eggs, 200 mils of milk. This is skimmed milk, and the key to a good Yorkshire pudding is making sure that the batter is very cold and the oil has been heated for a long time in the oven. Enough said, let's get on with making the Yorkshire puddings. Yorkshire puddings are traditionally served with beef. We're having chicken today, but we don't care, we've fancied a Yorkshire pudding. First of all, make sure that your oven is on really, really hot, 210 degrees fan. Let it heat up for a while, and we're just going to add in our 140 grams of plain flour into a mixing bowl, and then add in the 4 eggs. You can whisk by hand, but we're going to cheat with an electric whisk, which I've just taken the things out of. This isn't my whisk. That work? Ooh. Now I've finished breaking Mr. O's whisk, I know how to work it properly now. So maybe turn it down just to make sure it's slower. Mix in the eggs and the flour until it's really smooth. The batter's really smooth now, so gradually add in the milk and then start mixing, and you can just gradually continuously add until it's all gone. The magic hand of Mr. O assisting in the kitchen. The batter is all combined now. You want to get bubbles, little bubbles on the surface, so that you know that the batter's really, really light. Add in some salt and pepper, pour it into a jug, which will make it far easier to eventually put the batter in the Yorkshire pudding tins, and there's a story about Yorkshire pudding tins coming up. And then pop it in the fridge to chill for about 15 minutes, and in that time you can be heating the oil in the oven. Now it's come the time for the Yorkshire pudding tin. You can use a muffin tin also, which was what I was traditionally using, and then Mr. O was very generous and took me to Asda and bought me one of these, which I must admit, and I hate being wrong and him being right, but it does, I think, make a better Yorkshire pudding. So we're going to put our oil in these 4 Yorkshire pudding holders. We're using olive oil, not fry light. You just need to make sure that the bottom of each one is covered in oil so that the batter doesn't stick. And then you want to pop this oil in the oven until it's really, really hot. So when the cold batter hits this oil, there'll be a lovely sizzle, which is like a chemical reaction, and will hopefully give a really nice, well-risen Yorkshire pudding. I was a little cautious with the oil, just because obviously you're trying to be healthy, it's always best to. But we've put a little extra in. You want the oil just to coat the bottom of each little holder such that, and now we're going to pop it in the oven to warm for about 15 minutes. You want this oil to be really, really, really hot. So the oil has heated for about 15 minutes, so it's really, really hot. Be very, very careful. And taken out the chilled batter, and I'm hoping for a very nice sizzling sound when I start pouring it in. And all you need to do now is pop it back in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how quickly your oven cooks. Another very important part of roast preparation is having a little drink. So we're going to have some champagne, hoping not to make a mess out of this. It's always a good sound. So it's nice to have a little drink whilst the Yorkshire puddings are cooking, and then we're going to prepare the chicken, because as soon as those Yorkshires come out, we are going to put the chicken in to roast. It's a 1.5 kilo chicken, just in a roasting tin, and all you need to do is spray the chicken with some Fry Light. And we're just going to keep it very simple with some seasoning, with some salt and pepper. The Yorkshires are done now, so time to take them out. They look rather lovely. The good thing about cooking these Yorkshires in advance is that you have more space in the oven. Let's shut that up. And also, you just need to put them back in the oven to warm up about 5 minutes before you're going to serve. And if you've got any left over, you can freeze them and they last for about a month. We've also started parboiling these potatoes. They'll probably need about 20 minutes, and then we'll add them in with the chicken, which we're about to pop in the oven. It will take about 1 hour and 20 minutes to cook this chicken. Turn the oven down slightly to 170 degrees fan, and we're going to get going. We've parboiled the potatoes, drained them, and we've roughed them up in the pan. I popped some salt and pepper on them, and in this roasting tin we just have some Fry Light. Just tip the potatoes in. And the secret recipe is the OXO cube. So I'm just going to pop some more Fry Light over the top of the potatoes. And then just sprinkle the OXO cubes over them. And they will go into the oven for about 45 minutes to 1 hour until they're nice and crispy. The chicken's done, so we've taken it out of the oven and we're just going to allow it to rest for a few minutes. I usually put the chicken on a chopping board and then just cover it in some foil for it to keep warm. Unfortunately, we've got a bit carried away with the tennis for the Wimbledon final. So we've already put the carrots into roast and now the broccoli is steaming. So in about 5 minutes, we'll be ready to serve. So this is the broccoli steaming, only needs a couple of minutes, and we've added in some flaked garlic just to give it a bit more flavour. All finished, all plated up, very yummy, and now it is time to eat.